Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Aurelian's Fair, the live stream event for the Restitutor Orbis channel. Let's go ahead and issue out the greetings. Hello, Old World Georgia. Good to see you, Eric. Hey, Jamie. Welcome. Laura, good to see you. Hi, Kathy. Hi, David. And who else have we got on there so far? Hey, New World Order. Oh, I like that. New World Order. Yeah, that's unique. Adam Baum, good to see you. Hey, M1, welcome. And who else do we have on so far? Hey, OIC, welcome. Good to see you. Does anybody else want to go ahead and say hi with the initial intro? I know everyone's still going to be logging back on since we took a week off. That's all right. We'll try to stay on the week. Hey, Keith Murray, New World Over. Lisa Ann Fitzgerald, welcome. Internet person, how you doing? Okay, good to see ya. Josh Goulrud. welcome. Hey, Ronald. All right, looks like everybody's coming all on at the same time. Hey, Adam, good to see ya. All right, anybody else? Daniel Russo. Do the crane, Danny, do the crane. Sorry, I just had to say that. Anybody gets that reference? Okay, first and foremost, I'm doing well. Can everybody hear me just fine? Hey, Darren, welcome. Hey, but anyways, good to see you. All right. Well, looks like everybody's getting settled on. So everybody's probably wondering for a little bit of an update. Right now, I'm out on the ground doing some explorations in the Midwest, and I've got something very exciting to share with everybody. There you go, wax on, wax off. All right, perfect. So I wanted to share with all of you, I'm out on the ground and I found something interesting in the Midwest. I was planning to head out east here in the month of August, but I've had a change of plans. And the reason for that being is that I found a number of intact archives here in the Midwest. It seems as though there are several historical archives here that have either not been, I don't want to say censored, but let's just say lost, whether, it's through one of those strange fortuitous acts such as fire or simply unavailable. So I'm finding a lot of different archives that are intact. We've got pictures, we've got written accounts, we even have some diaries. Now, what's the authenticity behind these? I don't know, but I'm going through this information, going through these archives, and I've found some pretty amazing things. So I'm going to start sharing that both through the videos and on the live streams. I'm going to make a little bit of a compilation package that's also going to go out for the members, but all the information will be shared with everybody. What the members are going to get, so they're just going to get the original information that I have, and I'll look to share it with all of you as best I can through the videos and on the live stream. So that is what I am currently doing right now, and I'm actually finding out that there are a lot of things that are quite surprising. Now, is this the original history? Is this altered history? Does this really matter? Or is this some sort of other fictitious account that's simply trying to throw us off? Because you might notice I use the term mainstream account. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I figure if I share it with all of you and allow you to screen it and evaluate it on your own and come to your own conclusions, as I always try to do with this information. So you will start to see a little bit of that in tonight's live stream. And I certainly invite your comments and your feedback on it because I know you're all very intelligent and free thinking people, which I respect immensely. And yeah, and that's the whole thing. Stuff does exist off the internet, and I think I've found a treasure trove of it because I have not seen this information. I have not seen a lot of these records. I've certainly not seen these pictures. And I will admit, some of these pictures do look questionable, and some of them I find difficulty finding questions with. Hey, Watchman, good to see you. So anyway, I think it's best that we share it all. CK Malcolm, good to see you. I think it's best just to share it all with everybody and let you come to your own conclusions. So in any event, tonight we're going to have a little bit of a theme with the live stream, and I want to carry that on going forward. And the theme's going to be, we're going to look at some really old photos from across the land. And we're also going to look at some old photos from the state that I'm currently in, looking to get your evaluations on them. So we will not delay and get started. So give me 1 second here. I'm a little rusty, it's been a whole 2 weeks. So just bear with me. All right, sharing screen. And can you see this lovely work of art? Hey, Kathy Morrison, good to see you. Hey, Lean, welcome. Yeah, exactly, Adam, and that's my feeling about it as well. So can everybody see my screen? We have this lovely, majestic work of art, and if you can read the top of it, it's supposedly artwork from 1842. Maybe some of you have seen this picture before. All right, I know I said we were going to start with pictures, but one of the reasons I wanted to start with a work of art is this is something that is stated to be from 1842. And I found it very interesting because when we see art, we're seeing what's in people's minds, what's in their imagination. This is an artist from 1842. Now, we could think that this has potentially a religious connotation because it looks like we see an angelic figure here to the right. We see some individual who's on a boat, and there's an angelic figure here, but they're both reaching off to what's in the distance. And yet, you see in the distance here, we have this very incredible edifice. Oh, yeah. Well, there's going to be a video covering that, Watchman. So, anyway, yeah, it's very pretty. You got the sphere on top of it. You got what looks to be a couple flames, but when you look a little closer, it looks like you have some columns in it. And it's a very interesting artistic rendering. So, yeah, it's a good question. Now, is this just an imagination work of art? Is this just from someone's mind, or is this a depiction from something that was real or could have been real? Hey, how you doing? So, okay, yeah, I'm remissing my duties here. So, well, that's just it. Westworld and the Truman Show, and yeah, it's like a super Taj Mahal. Oh, I see, isn't it? With a sphere on the top of it. Yeah, that's a good call out. Ice Palace. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure what to make of it. Is it just an imaginative work of art, or is this depicting something that may have been real or could be real? Hey, Slowburn, good to see you. But those are kind of things that I always see with the world. And, when I come across a work of art like this that was in a historical archive, I figured it must be important enough to share with you all. So, yeah, there you go. Sphere ship. That's a good call out. And that could well be. Yeah, 19th century fish market. Well, if you don't see it, hit the like button, please. Yeah, that's a good one, Old World, Georgia. Let me get that one up there. It does look like Ashgabat, doesn't it? And we explored that a little while ago when we did the Ghost Cities video. So, you know what? And that's true. I see. It could be a cake. It does kind of look like a giant cake, doesn't it? Yeah, there's a lot of interesting depictions. I mean, for me, if this is something from 1842, it's very fascinating. And it's kind of a good way to get our imaginations going because it's important to have creativity and imagination when we evaluate photos. Because we have the logical side of our minds, but then we also have to touch the creative and imagination side of our minds as well. So, yeah, for all we know, it could be death ray facility. Is it something beautiful? Yeah, it's a painting. The Real Martinez. This is a painting from 1842, work of art that we're just looking at. So, no, I am not in Utah. I am in the Midwest of the United States. So, yeah, that's a good point, Adam. I remember that too. Yeah, I'll get to movie reviews here at the end. So make sure you ask me that question there, Old World, Georgia. We're going to see something new with the movie reviews coming up. So, yeah, right, New World Over, because you're going to get a lot of reality from that, aren't you? Really? Well, that's interesting, Chelsea. Yeah, there seem to be a lot of synchronicities. So I know it's a painting that's existed before. I just happened to see it when I was going through the archive, so I thought I would share it with everybody. Yeah, that could be too. Well, I'm glad you're here, Kathy. So yeah, that's a good call out there, Jason. I don't know. Let's take a look. I mean, do we think this is a halo or is this some sort of sphere or planet back here? Not sure. Or plane of existence. Get it? Yeah, Tower of Babel. Got a little video coming up on that one. I think you're all going to enjoy it. So, well, it's not to say that the picture itself isn't from some Utah depiction, but yeah, I see the halo too. I think that's what it is supposed to be representing. But in any event, little picture of artistic work that's supposedly from 1842, but who knows for sure? It could have been a newer picture or something else or something that we just don't know about. Yeah, that's true, Adam. That's going to be a fun one to hit. Paulie, good to see you. Happy Saturday. Welcome. And I think there's a lot of truth in that, Ruby. A lot of truth, a blending of the realm. Well, you know what? If somebody figures out what I hid in the UFO video, then you definitely deserve an award. So, yeah, there you go. John Constable. Yep. So we're told. I mean, we don't know for sure. It's just like an architect, but we have no reason to doubt that at this point. So, all right. Well, let's get into the photos proper. And ironically enough, we'll start with Constantinople. So this is supposedly a photo of Constantinople from 1843. And Constantinople, now called Istanbul, but the photo was labeled Constantinople from 1843. And you see over here we have the good old Hagia Sophia, a very contentious structure that was constructed according to the official account during the worst year in history, 536. But a lot of other interesting anomalies, though, when you look at this photo, because this does not look like Istanbul today completely. It almost looks more built out. I'm not going to say cleaner, but there's definitely a lot of oddities about this particular photo. And photographs from the mid 19th century are always questionable in and of themselves, but you just get a lot of little call outs with this, with the different large structures. Although, even though they're supposedly built hundreds or in this case thousands of years apart, there's a lot of similarities. Yeah, you got it. I got a huge list, so just bear with me, okay? The list just keeps getting longer every day. But yeah, it's a pretty nice photo of Istanbul now, Constantinople then. So, yeah, good one there, Adam. Not on threes, but on fours. Isn't that interesting? Yep, good one there. Here, let's take a look at this one here in the background. So, yeah, again, but these domes all look so much similar. Now, is that just because of the limitations of the photo that's giving us that impression, or is that what we're really seeing? So, Daniel, that's exactly right. We don't know what year it is now, and we don't know what year this photo is really from. Yeah, we see a lot of obelisks, don't we? Could be, Paulie, could be. I mean, it could represent a lot of different things. Firmament, a dome, a ceiling. You know, 'cause there's always domes on these buildings. But then you even see the smaller ones. And you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the cathedral in St. Paul, Minnesota, because you saw similar construction with that, you know, with the little small satellite domes, as you want to call them. Like here you have these little satellite domes. This is making me think of the dome in St. Paul. There's a couple, Kathy, namely the Hagia Sophia being the big one, if that's what you're talking about, if that's what you're referring to with landmarks, the Hagia Sophia right here. But I have not compared this with a current photo of Istanbul. And there's a reason I do that, because sometimes when you look at the current photos, I've noticed that can also bias your mind a little bit to try to see how things compare, when in reality, it's helpful to look at the photo fresh. Now, I'll upload all these photos to Reddit and Twitter, or actually just Reddit on the Lucius Aurelian Reddit there. And you're more than welcome to do your own comparisons. And, you know, if you see something else, let me know in the comments at any point in time. Yeah. Hey, I am Kairos. Welcome. Good to see you here. Yeah, I mean, just a building technology that's very impressive and amazing, and certainly not something that we'd associate with that time frame. Certainly not 536. Now, as for the rest of these, you know, we're told these are mosques now, but who knows when these were really built? Yeah, exactly. Hey, Daniel, don't get me started on reimagined Battlestar Galactica. Okay, that's going to be a long conversation, but make sure to ask me that question later in the video. Okay. And for those of you who have just showed up, just be sure to hit that like button. I appreciate it. It helps support the channel, and I really appreciate your support. You've all been doing a wonderful job, and I know the explorations have gotten a little longer on the ground, and we missed live stream last week, so we're going to try to make up for that in these coming live streams. So, all right. Yeah, 3D printing with geopolymers and frequency. Probably a lot of truth and reality in that, but who's to know for sure? Yeah, that's a good call out there, Kathy. So in any event, that's Constantinople. Let's go on to the next one. All right, this is Ford's Theater, United States, Washington, D.C., 1865. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, this is where President Abraham Lincoln was supposedly assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. That's what the official account tells us. But no one really ever looks at the building of Ford's Theater, and you see a lot of intricate detail in it. You know, brick building, we've got the usual window dressings. But then it's interesting that we have this concrete here for the base and the foundation. Yep, you're all over it. So, yeah, theater, aka temple. A lot of good call outs there. So, Oliver, which photo are you talking about? This one, this photo is from 1865. This is supposedly taken before Lincoln was assassinated. But, you know, as we don't know the year, we don't know what year it really was. So, yeah, that's possible. I do wonder that too. I am Kairos. I do wonder that too, especially when I look at a lot of this stuff. But focusing here at the bottom, we look at this concrete right here. And you might remember, I know that Conspiracy RS did a lot of discussion on concrete, the difference between the so-called modern Portland cement that we have and then the older natural cement. I think it was the Rossendale natural cement. And John Levi covered it in his off-topic videos, and he did a really good job summarizing it. But the whole concept with the cement is, you know, we said we didn't have Portland cement available in the United States until I think it was the 1870s. I'm shooting from the hip here, but you know, whatever the account is, it seems as though we had some sort of cement that was very advanced and we were capable of making these amazing buildings with these arches. And this had to be built before 1865. I'm trying to remember the chronology on Ford's Theater, but it doesn't matter. They're saying this is a photo from 1865, and we had this incredible theater built up in 1865, which to me is an impressive building in and of itself. Vapor Missile, good to see you. Thanks, Kenny. I appreciate that. And we're going to keep exploring going forward. So, but it's funny because you see this with Ford's Theater, and you don't think of the building itself. You know, you just think of the historical event where President Lincoln was assassinated in the United States. And there you go, Roman concrete. You're absolutely right, Slowborn. A concrete that we still don't have the capability to replicate to this day, or so we're told. And you know, if you want evidence of this, you can go on the old Roman roads, or you can look at the Pantheon in Rome itself. It's the largest unreinforced dome. Now, a lot of people tell me in the comments, yes, we can do this today. But it's one thing to say something, it's another thing to do something. And I think just looking at this building in and of itself, it's the example of doing something. Yeah, and that's true too, Daniel. And I think, yeah, supposedly. Hey, Alex, welcome. Good to see you. Good morning. And Italian marble too. Yeah, thanks, Old World Georgia. And that's what they said too, Eric. You know, opened in 1863. So, and I think I'm going to get to a video where I'm going to cover construction materials. You know, it's probably not going to be this next week, but it's going to be coming up because there's a lot of structures that I've come across that are very questionable, that are from that questionable time frame. You know, but again, we don't know what year it is. So, what to make of it? Not sure. So that's Ford's Theater. Moving on. All right, so this is the International Exhibition of Science, Art, and Industry, if memory serves. And this is in Glasgow, in Scotland in 1888. And what do you think of this one? Let me zoom in here. So another one of these lovely world's exhibitions. So, yeah, that's a good point. And that's usually the story we get too. But yeah, another one of these lovely world exhibitions. And yeah, good call out there, Polly. Yeah, it's funny how you keep seeing that too. Good comments, all of you. Yeah, thanks, M1. And oh, I see. Yeah, exactly. 5 years before the Chicago World's Fair in the United States. And you have something like this. Yeah, let's I'm just gonna pan over this image real quick. You know, you keep making your comments, but I mean, look at the entryway here. And if we're gonna get this usual story that this is a temporary structure built with stucco and balsa wood and plaster, yeah, I find that just a little hard to believe with this. But you know, you've got the bridge, you've got the subsidiary structures as well. I mean, you can see this one here in the foreground a little bit better. I mean, this isn't any slouch either. Yeah, good one. Well, yeah, because you didn't need power tools. This was easy, right, Lee? Who needed power tools? All right, can everybody hear me now? I had a little bit of an audio issue. It always seems to happen whenever I travel, so sorry about that, but we'll get right back on it. But anyway, when you look at a building like this, you see these kind of details with both the towers, the towers in the foregrounds and the towers in the background. It's just something that defies easy explanation. What kind of construction techniques and materials went into this, how much planning went into it. There's very limited information available about this particular World's Fair, and it's something I find very fascinating. So, not sure what to tell you on it, but yeah, it could well be, and it does look that way, doesn't it? Yeah, and I'm not sure what to make of the antennas. So, can everybody hear me okay? Just give me a little bit of a yes there because I had to switch out mics. For some reason, I always have issue with the mic whenever I'm on the move here. All right, perfect. Thank you much for that. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what to make of this at all. And when you see something like this, it just really makes you wonder. But yeah, Glasgow, Scotland, 1888. 5 good years before the Chicago World's Fair as our baseline event. No, not at all. Oh, thanks, Sarah. Appreciate that. Oh, 3D Antiquitech printer that could churn out cities on a whim, and you have to wonder if that's it. And real quick on that topic, there's a slew of different theories that we've come across as we do these explorations. Was this a previous civilization? Is this some sort of alternate timeline? Are these overlapping events? It's hard to say. Yeah, and go Scotland. And they say that 5 million people attended this event, and it went from, I think it was May of 1888 to November of 1888. So, yeah, no worries there. But in any event, all right, let's go on to the next picture. So now we go to the Parthenon in Athens, and this is an 1842 picture, and you can see how utterly annihilated this building is. Of course, we're told that this is old ruins, but you look in this, and it looks like we have some sort of wooden scaffolding in here. So I'm not exactly sure what to make of this. Hey, Dwayne, good to see you. Yeah, and it's interesting when you look in the family genealogies. Or genealogies. That's a very good call out. So. All right, no power tools, and you'll do it all by yourself, right, Dwayne? Yes, it's another one of those one wonders. So, yeah, and this is the actual Parthenon, or so we're told. And what exactly is going on here? I mean, it looks like it was hit hard by something. It looks like some of this is more recent. So I'm not sure what to make of it myself. I mean, we have an exact quote unquote replica of it, which is laughable, in Nashville in Tennessee in the United States. And, I mean, it's a beauty when you look at it, but what exactly happened here? What's this photo representing? It's hard to say. I mean, you've got some of the hallmarks of the Great Construction, but it just looks like this building got hit hard and hit in a very nasty way. So it's really hard to say. Yes, I have. I am Kairos. I've seen it. I've touched it, and that is very clearly an authentic building. I don't know what I can say for the one they supposedly built at the end of the 19th century, but there she is. So yeah, and I think a lot of us are in that same boat without power tools. And that's a good point, Sarah. And that's what you start to see when you start to look for this stuff. You start to see it's everywhere. And right now I'm actually in a treasure trove of small towns, and I found some records of some buildings I've never seen before, and that's what I'm going to be sharing here pretty soon. So, all right, let's get on from the Parthenon. So here's another little work of art here, but the reason I call this one out is here in this distance, you might remember the old pyrocumulus cloud comment from the UFO video. Yeah, good old pyrocumulus cloud. They just look very suspiciously like some other cloud. I'm not going to tell you what cloud, but yeah, it's just funny that those clouds look alike. You're intelligent people. Hey, Celeste, welcome. Yeah, and that does look like Civil War ruins. That's a great call out, and that's what I thought of when I saw it. Yeah, big boom. You got it, Jamie. You guys are all over it. Ding, ding, ding. Thank you, Kathy. I mean, if y'all say it, it's all good. So no worries. That's a good one. I like that, Old World Georgia. So yeah, just in another painting, and I think this was a painting from the 1840s or the 1850s. So no, who was thinking that? Fungus clouds, dang fungus clouds. Okay, moving on. Now here's another painting. This is from 1849, and the reason I included this one is we have what looks to be like a ruined obelisk here. Now, yeah, I know this is a painting. It doesn't prove anything, but sometimes it's interesting to look at these paintings because they give us a representation. The obelisks are always interesting to me, as are the standing stones in Scotland. So if any of you are over in the United Kingdom and you get a chance to get up to Scotland, I know they're a major plot point in that Outlander series. There might be somebody who's forcing me to watch that series now. I'm kidding. It's a pretty good series. It's better than Dr. Quinn, but okay, enough bad jokes for me. Anyway, yeah, you got the monolith here, and in a painting, still, it's very fascinating that you have something like this from 1849. So, part of an arch, is it some structure? Why is it in a painting? I mean, it's clearly an artificial object of some sort. I think it looks like an obelisk, but that might just be my mind toying with me. So, it's hard to say. Well, yeah, that's true, Daniel. And if you go to Stonehenge, you will not feel the energy there. I think it was Howdy Mikowski that I learned that from when I was watching his channel. He covered that in great detail. So, and it's a very beautiful country, let me tell you. On every movie I've seen, of course, I got introduced to Scotland on this movie called Highlander. You may have heard of it, maybe you didn't, but yeah, I don't wonder. Yeah, in the Badlands. So, all right, let's move on. Okay, so now we're actually in Rome, and this is very interesting. This is from 1842. And I'll just zoom in back here. I'm not exactly sure what this structure is supposed to be back here. So we're in Rome, 1842, back to the old pictures. And what exactly to make of this? And is this some sort of church or what? And I always like the pictures of Rome because we have these different expectations of Rome, but then you go to 1842 and you see all this. Like here you have these domes. These domes actually look a lot like the Capitol domes in the state capitals across the United States. So what to make of that? Yeah, it might be a cathedral. I'm not sure. And, I don't do the comparison on these photos because I like to look at these buildings fresh, but that's just me. So by all means. Yep. I think a lot of it's actually still there, Sarah. I mean, I know the domes are still there. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you scroll back out, but then you see some of the strange ruins. Here you have the columns and there's some ruins here. Here you just have this individual column. I'm reminded of the individual column that we see in St. Louis, the really tall one that they say is a water tower. Yeah, bats in the belfry. Don't go there if you're Michael Keaton's Batman. Ray Charles will be waiting for you. If anybody gets that reference, I'll be impressed. Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's what it boils down to, the capacity to occupy all these buildings in Rome. Now, of course, it's Rome. They always had a large population. The official historical account tells us it had a much larger population, then the empire fell, and there were turbulent times, the Dark Ages, medieval times, and the Renaissance, and it all regrew. But you see this photo that's from 1842, it causes you to ask different questions. So I don't know. Fire might have a completely different meaning. So yeah, and you could be onto something there, Sarah. And Cade, I believe we can. That's why I continue to do the work that I do, and other explorers do the work that we do. So, yeah, that's very true, Patrick. Good comment on that one. So, Yes, great call out. And that's why I'm going to post all these pictures on the Reddit. So something's off about it. Yep. And that's what's really strange about it, Adam, is, this is 1842. So what really to make of this? I don't know. All right, let's go on to the next one. So another little painting here. This is just a little bit of a fun one, but I always found it interesting how this animal's looking right at the camera, this guy, and he's just in utter terror. So just a little fun one, but this just shows you one of the pictures we'd expect to see from the 1840s. Certainly not incredible buildings in the distance and just obelisks. So yeah, I think we all would. You're close. You're close. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on the painting. I'll have it posted on the Reddit site. Okay, Sir Walter Scott's monument in Edinburgh, Scotland. I was going to say Edinburgh and see if I can mess with some people, but I'm not going to play the pronunciation game, okay? I do know it's pronounced Edinburgh, supposedly, but, if I'm wrong, go ahead and correct me. I don't have any issue with it. Very, very poor photo, though, of this incredible monument, but a lot of beautiful detail. Yep, yep. You know. But this is something that really stands out. Now, we're not going to dwell on this really poor photo. I just think it's interesting that they have this poor photo. This is supposedly a construction photo because you can see the scaffolding right over here. Edinburgh, not Edinburgh, right? Okay, I'll stop. Usually it's the French pronunciations I have a good time with. So, yeah, exactly. Okay, let's go to a better photo because this one's just completely washed out. Yep. And there's something, this is just a really questionable one, no doubt about it. So here's a little bit better of a photo from it. And we'll zoom on to it first. This monument that they supposedly built for, trying to remember what the account of it was. It was for people who were supposedly fighting for the social revolution at the time. And these people were heroes. And so they built this monument. And I need to do a special video and some research on what the official story is. But one of the reasons I didn't go too far into it is because, just this monument itself is very incredible. I mean, this isn't just a column or a pillar. This is like some beautiful cathedral top that's just been put down there in the ground. So what's really the story behind it? Yeah, exactly. And you see this kind of architecture and it really just gives you that impression. It really shows you that there's something more going on. So outside of the monument, some other things to look at. In the distance, it looks like we have a much greater structure here. And in Edinburgh, there seems to be a lot of old world structures, past, present, and future. But then you look at some of the buildings nearby, like right here, you got the little pediment over the doorway, you got the scaled columns here, very beautiful architecture. And this is a photo from the 1840s again. So what exactly is going on? And supposedly they built this thing in the 1840s. But then this little palace temple over here, I mean, what do we got going on up here? It looks like we got a couple lions. We got the figure sitting up here. And we'll be told, yeah, exactly, Julia. And, I'm sure it is buried. There's something there. We'll be told that this was the type of architecture that was just going around at the time and it was just really popular. But these explorations that happen in the 18th century and then all of a sudden they're building it. There's several buildings in Edinburgh that they started building about 1750, like I believe including the town hall, that don't make a lot of sense. So that is in Edinburgh, Scotland. Edinburgh, Scotland. And like I said, I'll have all these pictures posted on Reddit so you can see. But just so much gorgeous beauty within this one. Now, I only included this one because it's supposedly a photo of an interior of a house, and this just isn't what you'd expect to see, in Scotland, the United States, or wherever. Looks like everybody's just chilling and taking a nice little nap. It's just kind of funny to see life depicted from that time frame. So, yeah, exactly. And that is kind of funny. It's just a nap, but what exactly is going on? Everything's about attention diversion. So, anyway, I just thought it was an interesting little look at life at that time. Now, this is looking at one of the cathedrals in Edinburgh, and I thought this was very interesting because, these columns and these pillars, I mean, they're gorgeously decorated, but they look like they're about, 1,000 years old. Yeah, the ceilings are always really tall. Good call out there. And I think all that clothing was really tiring. It's as though everybody wanted to be hot and tired all the time. Didn't matter who you were. So, must have been a really big meal. So, yeah, not sure. Not sure what to make of it. But I mean, you just look at some of this in this cathedral and some of the stones down here, the larger stones here. But I mean, the columns are very impressive, very gorgeous and well decorated. But how old is it? What's causing all this? Is it just all the coal they're building at the time? I don't know. Yeah, that's a good call out there. I believe it is, but you know what? I haven't actually been there. And so I don't know what it currently looks like. And I'm not going to say that unless I can verify it. And it gets a little more difficult when you're looking at these old photos. So, yeah, that's all very true. Oh, good call out there, Julia. Good call out, all of you. Let's go to the next one. All right, so here we're just looking down the street at the time in Edinburgh. And, here you see some of the blurring that you'd expect to see with the photo, but what interests me is the road right here. But then you can see what looks to be more advanced technology. Again, this is from the 1840s. These are the very early photos that we're looking at. So, yeah, I don't know, Paul. That might be a good theory right there. We don't really have any idea what's exactly going on. Repurposed. Is there some effect going on? They say that we were coming out of the last ice age or a mini ice age or a portion of it at that time. You can find older painted photos that show that portions of Europe, the United States were frozen because winters lasted long. So who knows exactly what was going on? So yeah, it's just you look at these photos and there's just so many questions you can ask. One of the call outs to make on this one is this building right here. And it looks like you have one of these really cheap signs right in front of it. So not exactly sure what's going on here. But then way back here, what is this? Is this like a skywalk or something? Or is that just my imagination running wild on me? I mean, what do you all think? I have no idea exactly what this is back there. So it's very intriguing. I mean, you get some of the lights and some of the ornate detail. Oh, yeah. Of course, you got the top hat. Where would you be without your top hat? You need to have your top hat. Yeah, exactly. As though you could never be warm enough. Wear your suit, wear your best dress, and wear it all the time. And I know some people say that's a generational aspect, but who knows for sure? Yeah, exactly. We just don't know. We just don't know at all. So, let's head to the next one. Okay, so this is Edinburgh. Make sure I'm pronouncing it properly from a distance. This is the old town portion of it. Some very interesting buildings here. And then you got the cathedral spires and some other aspects to it. Yeah, exactly. When you always see that white sky, so who knows for sure exactly what's going on with it. But then right here, I mean, this build, look at this back here. Wow. A lot of detail right there. No World's Fair here. This is one of the 1840s pictures, supposedly. Okay, so you think it was a skywalk? Yeah, that would add up. It looked like a skywalk to me, so. Yeah, and that's the hard part about these photos is, what are they really showing? What are they really reflecting? It's hard to say. What kind of detail do you see? Are these ruins? I mean, are these fully operational buildings? I mean, if they really built these, then why does this look so worn down? Is it just because of the photo? It's really hard to say. But I mean, this one back here, wow. I mean, there's something intricate and detailed going on back here. Is that photo alteration or is that something that's real? Yeah, and I'm with you on that one. Yep. Yeah, and I think it does look ruined to me as well. So it's just hard to say. But very, very interesting look at Edinburgh from the 1840s. So next one. So another building in Edinburgh. I think they told me this one was a bank, but I can't be for sure because I haven't actually been there. But again, we see the usual hallmarks in this building. You got the pediment with beautiful decorative detail right here. with all these figures, this doesn't really reflect Celtic mythology to me or Gaelic mythology. This looks like something from Roman or Greek, but remember that was just the popular thing. Yeah, I'm with you, Adam. And that, and you see that here on this building as well. But look at some of these columns and the decoration on these columns here. I mean, just beautiful. But then you can see the wood scaffolding back here. And of course, they'll try to say, oh, this is a construction photo. But yeah, exactly. First Roman bank. Yeah. I'll have to remember that one. I might have to use that in some of the videos coming up. That's a good one. But just hard to say what's going on and, what's the real situation with it. Yeah, Corinthian, Dorian, Ionian, whatever you want to call it. You got all the names for it, but it's just beautiful and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, foundation style. That's a good one. Foundation style. Nope, they hadn't gotten around to doing that yet. That's a good call out. We need a little bit more time. Got to label these suckers. All right, here's another interesting one from Edinburgh. And what to make of this one? Nice obelisk here, and here's that monument. The obelisk is supposedly another monument. Now, the monument here was to one person. It's the obelisk that I believe was the monument to the 5 people that were fighting for freedom, so, or standing up for freedom. Or, hey, Geif, good to see you. Yeah, foundation style. That's a good one. But what exactly was going on in Edinburgh in the 1840s? Who exactly knows? Or was this the 1840s? Is this 2023? I don't know, but just so many questions from this photo alone. Well, we'll be getting over to the European explorations. Don't worry. And, I know things stand out a lot more in the United States, but you can find a lot of questionable things in Europe as well. So, yep. And it's an amazing city to this day. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, perfectly normal for an obelisk, It's the predecessor to the Washington Monument, but notice they could build it out of the same material. So you see. Do you think as the change in the atmosphere ones things, people get smaller and vice versa? Well, it could be possible. Or there could be something else entirely going on. Yeah, Castlevania, I like that one. Yeah, so I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun looking at this one because I sure did. But then you look at this right in front here and you see the road. It looks like the road's been cratered or it's been knocked up. But look at the sidewalk. Very interesting. Just hard to say exactly what's going on here. So, that's awesome, Andy. Appreciate that. Thanks for sharing. Yep. And what are we told? Are we told who we are? Do we know who we are? Are we still searching for who we are? That's what it's all about. And that's what we're trying to do. Is it a castle? Is it an obelisk? Is it some more advanced civilization? You just don't know. Okay, now we're back to Washington. This is the second inauguration speech of President Abraham Lincoln. What I found interesting about this reminds me of that Simpsons episode. Is this an inauguration speech or is it the Bleeding Splish Splash show? Did someone leave the fire hydrant on in Washington, D.C.? I don't know what the heck is going on with this water. 1864, I think, after the election that he just barely won. Thanks, Setneg. Good to see you, and I appreciate that very much. Oh, yeah. Well, there's all kinds of signs of star forts, so. Yeah, mash pit, exactly. Mosh pit, sorry. Mash pit, well, you see where my mind is, so. Yeah, I don't know. Inauguration speech or splish splash show? You let me know what you think. Now, here's another interesting one. This is from Washington in 1862, and I love to look at Civil War photos because they never seem to tell you what you or show you what you think you're going to see. For one, this doesn't look like the classic Union Army uniform, and this is supposed to be the Union Army camp, but what, did he bring his family with him too? Or are these camp followers? I mean, this looks like the family, but where this gets even stranger is then you see a little dog here. So it's as though this looks more like a displaced family. This doesn't look like a soldier and his family. So just not really sure what's going on with some of these Civil War photos. We'll probably get back to another video to take a look at some of these because I've got a slew of these that I've been finding. So yeah, and who knows, Polly? Maybe they just assign that year to it, and there you go. I think you might be onto something more there, Kathy. That's what I thought if I just looked at the photo without being told, yeah, this is a photo of the United States Army in Washington in 1862. I question that significantly. So, yeah, that could be. But I mean, in the background, it looks like you have what look to be soldiers, but who knows? I mean, it looks like we got some child soldiers back here. I have no idea. Yeah, just as long as it's not a Great Depression, right, Sarah? So, yeah, and that's one of the anomalies you see. They either have one uniform or they have a bunch of different uniforms. So, not sure what to tell you on that one. Okay, so here is the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and this is before they finished the new gnarly dome on it in the 1860s. And by the way, they did that during the United States Civil War. No, they most certainly do not, do they? They don't look American. But what's interesting is, is this a real photo? Is this something else? I'm not really sure because supposedly this was the predecessor style on a lot of our Capitol buildings. Supposedly these columns are still in existence and you can visit them in a park, which is interesting in and of itself. But then look at this dome. I mean, is this real or this just doesn't look like the United States Capitol? Parts of it do. Thanks, Doc. I appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that. But yeah, those are just the things that we have and the things that we see. So, hey, through my lens, good to see you. Welcome. Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, between Maryland and Virginia. That's specifically where it's located. Yeah, I'm with you, Kathy. It doesn't look right to me either. So I'm not sure exactly what to tell you about this one. Yeah, solar panel dome. Good one, M1. Does look like a solar panel dome, doesn't it? Just something looks really off about it. I mean, the pediment looks okay. The columns look okay, but I don't know what to make of the flippin' dome. Well, yeah, you're not supposed to visit it. Okay, you got to be safe. Remember, everything's about safety. Safety, safety, safety. And you might be onto something there, Polly. Just don't know for sure on this one. I've got a couple other photos of it and other videos, but they've changed the dome on it and renovated it. And I've looked at it in some of the Civil War videos. It looks very different. But it's just strange because most people don't see this photo of what the original dome supposedly looked like. And oddly enough, in my previous history days, you couldn't find a photo like this. Yeah, there you go, Colleen. Good one. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, moving on. Here's the White House, and it's funny how much we as Americans are taught to venerate the White House, at least those of us that grew up in the United States. But a lot of us remember a dome on top of the White House. And I remember the dome in, I think it was the movie 2010, the one that came out in 1984. And I thought it was a pretty good follow up to 2001. And I also find it funny that we still haven't gotten to Jupiter yet. But, maybe we'll get back to the moon here before too long, right? So good to see you, Deb. Welcome. Yeah, exactly. Cosmic confusion. And that's why we have to be very judicious when we look at these photos because they may prove something, they may prove nothing. Yeah, and that's why that's why the White House or the Executive Mansion, as they called it back then, is very interesting. So, do you remember a dome? I remember a dome, but there is no dome. So, what is it? Is it a Mandela effect? I'm not sure because I do remember a dome. I very clearly remember a dome, but maybe I'm just losing my mind or losing my memory. So, okay, just making sure it wasn't just me. Thanks for backing me up on that one. There's a lot of people that remember the dome. So, oh yeah, exactly. Now, is that people just messing up? I don't know. So it's just another one of those strange anomalies, and I thought it was interesting to showcase. So, Chassis, good to see you. Yeah, a lot of us do. You were probably correct there. I am Kairos. You were probably exactly on the money with that one. So, all right, next photo. So here's another photo from Washington D.C. And here we have the marching formation going on. Oh yeah, check this out. Different uniforms again. You got a little bit of the gray in front. You'll just say that's the marching band, and then you got the blue behind it. So, not really sure what to make of that. But it's an intriguing aspect. So, Different uniforms, muddy road, but you do have some well built up buildings here. But you'd kind of expect to see that. It's Washington D.C., but I'm not sure what to make of it. So, well, that could be. And we got a video coming up on the Mandela effect. I think you're all going to enjoy it. So, yeah. Yep, stone and mud roads, Sarah. It's a good combo, isn't it? Stone and mud roads. All right, heading on to the next one. Now, I just included this. This was supposedly the execution of the commandant of Andersonville prison camp, which was a southern prison camp that supposedly many Union soldiers died at during the United States Civil War. But this is such a strange photo because this doesn't seem like it's a public execution. It's just one of those weird things. And is this actually happening? What's really going on here? I don't know. It's just bizarre. Yeah, and you might be onto something there, Mark. Might definitely be onto something there. So, all right, moving on to the next one. Okay, so here is the Washington Capitol with the new dome on it, and then we got this little cathedral building. So, give me 1 second. I'm going to step out for a moment. I will be right back. I'll leave this photo for you. Give me 1 minute. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. Just had to move the car real quick. I'm staying at a bed and breakfast, but enough of my problems. So interesting here. You get to see the actual dome being constructed here. Yeah, nice looking crane there. But there's just a lot of anomalies that you have between this and the other older dome that we saw. So again, not sure what to make of it. Like I'm good to see ya. It's been a while. Hope everything's going well on your end. Yeah, and that's another call out. And you see a lot of dead, desiccated land. So I think I'm with you on that one, Chassis. It does look like a drawing, doesn't it? So in any event, all right, let's move on to the next one and keep things going. Yeah, the church in the front looks really interesting. So who knows exactly what's going on here? Yeah, during the Civil War, they finished constructing the United States Capitol. Sure, no problem, right? There was only the most difficult war going on. The nation was divided, and what was one nation became two nations, and they managed to complete mass mobilization all in a record time. And oh, by the way, the Confederacy, which was not a nation prior to 1861, managed to field an army and hold off what was the greatest military ever assembled in North America at that time. So the historical series says. So don't know what to tell you about that one, but it's always an interesting consideration. So you've seen this one before. I did show this one in the evidence of Tartaria, looking at photos from the 1850s, but there's all kinds of problems with this photo here, this so-called U.S. Capitol construction. So yeah, I'm not sure what to tell you about this one. But I mean, you can see it for yourself. You see a lot of phantom things, phantom scaffolding. What are they actually doing here anyway? They're supposed to be building the Capitol dome, but they're working over here on the wing. Oh, we had to repair the wing too. Right. So yeah, not exactly sure what to make of it. Oh, good one there, Jamie. Eric, if you're still with us, I'm sorry, but there's no hamster wheel cranes. I know you look for the hamster wheel cranes, but I'm sorry, Eric or Old World Georgia, no hamster wheel cranes today. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, I see. That's exactly right. And it does look more like the gallows, doesn't it? Oh, good grief. So anyway, that's the last photo from this group, but I do have a few bonus photos that we'll go over, and that's some of the stuff that I found in the archives as I've been poking around here in the Midwest United States. So, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I would love to see them try do skid. I really would. It would be very interesting to see what they could do and if they have that capability or that possibility, because people tell me we can do this. Certain architects or people claiming to be architects tell me that we can do this. It's just one of those things that you don't see them actually do. So are they just messing with us? I don't know. Yeah, exactly, Colleen. Yep. All right, give me 1 second. We'll go over to the bonus photos here. Let me make sure I got this up. So this will probably give you some idea of where I might be or where I've been. Okay, can everybody see this? Can everybody see what's on my screen now? We've transitioned a little bit, moving forward. All right, excellent. So this is in the Iowa building, and this is from the Chicago World's Fair, 1893. And yet, anybody who's from the United States, what's Iowa famous for? And I'll give you a hint, it's none of these fruits here. And yes, it was supposedly famous for this back in the 19th century, too. It's because of the soil in Iowa. They have wonderful soil, and therefore they're able to grow this incredible cash crop. There you go, I am Kairos. There you go. Corn, corn, corn. That is what Iowa's known for. Yep, you're all over it, Magic. Oh, this isn't the Iowa State Fair. This is the Chicago World's Fair. But yeah, you can get good corn at the Iowa State Fair. There's no doubt about that. And I've got to admit, I have a certain taste for sweet corn. It's one of my favorite things in the world. But don't overeat it, otherwise you get tired of it real fast. Anyways, so now obviously I'm in Iowa. I just may as well share that with you. And I found out that there was more than a corn palace in Iowa. There's a bluegrass palace, and there's also a flax palace in Forest City, Iowa. So I guess if you were in Iowa in the 19th century, you needed to make a palace out of every kind of major crop. Yeah, exactly. Anomalies galore. Abnormalities, anomalies, all the above. Hold on, we got an actual picture of this one, so we'll get to it in a second. So just keep that flax palace in mind. This is the Iowa State Reformatory in Anamosa, Iowa. Anamosa is a very small town that's next to Cedar Rapids, a major metropolis. But this is the typical building that they'll either say is a penitentiary or it's an armory. They're never going to say it's a castle or a palace or something like that. But this is still standing today. We'll be doing a video on this coming up. Anamosa State Penitentiary in the mighty state of Iowa. It still stands today. And just so you know, Anamosa is not a large town. There is no sense for having this here. Yeah, exactly. And this is one you can verify and confirm today. Yeah, that's true. Radar was from Ottumwa, wasn't he? Where are you from, son? Iowa. No talking in ranks. There's my Henry Morgan for you for the day. Or was it Harry Morgan? I don't remember. It's funny. He was also in a video about the Iowa State Fair or a movie about the Iowa State Fair. Yeah, good call out there, Deb. It is a mud flutter. But one of the details on this is look at these windows. Now, why do you have portal windows on a prison? Now, here's the modern picture, but the portal windows are there. And then they've got the scaled columns. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on with this one at all. But as it turns out, Iowa is a treasure trove for these buildings because for some reason they haven't gotten around to tearing them down. And I'm almost reluctant to say that because, we'd expect them to do that. But they survived. I thought it was just the county courthouses, but no, there's a lot more. Yep. And it's just not something you'd expect to see. Now, oddly enough, I was on my way to explore one of the major, what I believe is a construction site, an old world construction site in Iowa, and I just happened to drive right by this beauty. And then, yeah, I thought Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, WTF, what is this? Oh, it's the prison. Yeah, Dwayne, no fire. Good point there through my lens. You need to have a nice, beautiful building you're going to be incarcerated in. So, yep, it still exists to this day. For some reason, now you know why they call it flyover country. Don't stop in Iowa. Fly over it, drive through it as fast as you can. Don't go off the beaten path. Yep. And you just won't notice it. All right, let's go on to the next one. So here's the frontal picture of it. And this is another one of those buildings that looks different in different lights. But I'll just focus on the tower here. I mean, what's the point of this? How do you justify any of this for a prison if that's what its original purpose was? Makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, exactly. And just to share with you all, this is what I'm starting to discover. There are a ton of anomalies all around this area that somebody didn't get around to. It's almost as though somebody overlooked this. Because I always wonder why the heck this all stood up. Oh, no tourism whatsoever. And it's very intriguing. In fact, they seem to try to do things to turn people away from the area. So, yeah, maybe made from Lego. That would make the most sense, wouldn't it? But nope, not at all. I mean, here you can see the windows a little bit. Columns, different columns. Yeah, it's a mighty guard tower. And it's funny, they talk about the United States Civil War as it was the first instance of trench warfare, but nobody talks about the castle warfare that was going on, Wonder why. All right, next one. Okay, so this is a little photo from the small town of Berlin, Iowa in 1911. This is from the official archive. Berlin, Iowa is a small town in Tama County. It's never been more than a couple hundred people. But they show a dirigible in this. And they say this is an official photo. I don't know what to make of it. It's funny to me because you can actually see some clouds in the photo. And it's a really nice looking dirigible. I've never seen anything quite like it, except when I did Wings of the Old World. So, yeah, I think, and this was another one I found in the archive. So, do I think this might be legitimate? I think there's a possibility of it. I mean, it might not be. It could be altered. Another little interesting fact I found out about Berlin, Iowa, the town changed its name at the end of World War I to Lincoln, because Germany wasn't popular in the United States. They even went so far, as it is, supposedly, they even went so far as to say there was anti-German sentiment in Iowa, which I found utterly laughable because the preponderance of the population in Iowa is German. So were Germans hating Germans in Berlin, Iowa, and they had to change the name? And then when you look up this anti-German sentiment, you're taken back to the so-called American Party in the 1850s. So I don't know what the heck is going on here. It's just really bizarre. This account of this town, this photo of this dirigible, none of it makes any sense, but came from the archive in the town. So what to tell you, I don't know. Well, and they may well have, Daniel. They may well have had Photoshop back there in some version of it. Yeah, exactly. Anti-German, full of Amish. You got it. Well, and we'll take another look at airships, so we're not done with looking at them yet. So, all right, moving on. So this is another picture of Des Moines, and this is only 3 years after the photo we just looked at. And we're on the west bank of the Des Moines River, and you're looking at the east side of Des Moines here. This building is still here. This is the Iowa State Capitol in the distance on its mighty hill. But what's interesting to me is just how beautiful and modern these bridges look. These exact bridges are still the same today. So in Des Moines, Iowa. Hey, Abrams killer. I always want to say Abrams killer. Abrams killer. What you got there? Yeah, and that's probably why so many of them survived. And I think that's why I found a treasure trove, both of records and buildings. So yeah, and that's what they tell us, Kathy. Although we have other actions that indicate otherwise, just like we have other actions from the Germans that indicate otherwise. Good question there. I don't know. As though they knew that this was either going to be actually there. Well, there's the railway bridge. But if you look at older photos, you'll see there's even more bridges. There were 4 bridges like this if you look at the old bird's eye. But who knows if that proves anything. So, nope, not at all. Who would have ever thought that the Midwest would hold so many incredible little secrets, as though they thought everybody was going to fly over to drive around it. So, yeah, ding, 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 ding. Who knows what's true? Yep, that's something else that comes down as well. All right, let's see what else we have left. Oh, here's the Flax Palace. This is the real photo. 1880s again. So, Bluegrass Palace, Corn Palace in Sioux City, Flax Palace in Forest City, Iowa. Because why wouldn't you have a palace made of flax, You got people on top of it. This is actually a pretty good photo. I can see the clouds in it. What the heck? I guess those are some dots. I'm not sure. But it's actually a pretty decent photo. 1891 is what they have written on it. Who the heck knows? Yeah, exactly. Infinite amounts of flax. No problem. Because that's just what you needed to build these incredible, beautiful buildings. Get your flax going. Corn, flax, and bluegrass. We'll see what else I find of Iowa. I'm not sure. We'll see what comes up. I believe in a golden age. Do I believe in a golden age of Saturn? Well, maybe. We'll see what it's actually called. Unless you're referring to something else. So, yeah, I know. I'm sure y'all got a kick out of the UFO video. Hey, once in a while, you got to do something different. UFO. All right. That's enough fun on that. Let's go to the next one. Here's another picture of it. I mean, this Flax Palace is no slouch either. I don't know what gives. It's like if you were anybody in Iowa, you needed to build some kind of cool palace out of some kind of crop. I guess that does kind of match what they tell us about Iowa, but why not? More corn, a larger corn palace. How about a corn skyscraper? Yeah, it's a good one, Adam. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, next one. Now this is interesting. So this is Dexter, Iowa. This is a very small town. That I think, if memory serves, this is eastern Iowa, not too far from Grinnell, which is where Grinnell College is. They have a nice story there about a tornado hitting it and burning it down. But here's what I find interesting about this. So photos supposedly from the early 20th century. Again, not sure. I don't see any cars in this. I just see stagecoaches, horse and buggy. But check this building out right here. I mean, you got this beautiful column and some of these arch constructions with large blocks. Look at the detail up here. And keep in mind, this is in the middle of nowhere, Iowa. This isn't near a major city. Des Moines is probably about 112 miles away from this location. It's really strange. But then even stranger, you have what appears to be an old-fashioned water pump here, maybe an artesian well. But what exactly is this? I have no idea. I don't know if this platform represents something else. There's a lot of strange anomalies in this little town. That's not the only built-up masonry building. You have one back here because you got the chimney. Yeah, I mean, something with the water pump. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that just don't make any sense about this photo. Right down to the dirt road, but then it looks like we have a full up developed concrete block. This doesn't look like wood. I could be wrong. It might be wood, but it looks like concrete to me. So they say it's Dexter, Jarmy Vicious, but it might be Newton. I don't know. I mean, it says Main Street Dexter, but it could be labeled differently. So, But here's another interesting thing. So like some of these poles you see, these are tilted to the right, those are tilted to the left. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. Strange windstorms, super wide street for a small town. So many things with this one. Yep. I'm on the ground. Don't worry. We'll be taking a look at it. So I don't recall, Kathy. I didn't actually see that movie. I know. I was a big Patrick Swayze fan, but I didn't actually see the movie. Yeah, it's hard to say what's going on here. And this is the actual Iowa building from the Chicago World's Fair. And look at this beauty. Another one of these little temporary buildings that, they just threw up to represent Iowa. Iowa always represented well whenever it went to the World's Fairs. Got to make sure you put Iowa on the front of it. Oh, look at that. They even have little columns there between the letters. Yep. Not sure what to make of that one. But that's where that fruit minus corn that we saw was earlier. Well, yeah. What else would it be? All right. And then here's another photo of Dexter, that same town. And here we have another beautiful building. More Men in Black. Main Street, North Dexter. Well, then maybe they'll say it's the orange capital of the world next. Hey, you don't grow oranges in Florida, you grow them in Iowa. Oh yeah. All right. Well, I do believe that is the last of our photos. It is. I will have these posted in the usual spot on Reddit on the channel page there, and you are more than welcome to look at them, analyze them, and let me know what you think. So, yeah, just nothing but mud streets in these small towns, but masonry buildings. Look, OIC, what do you need tarmac for? You could just build these kind of buildings in the middle of the dirt, in the middle of grass. You didn't need roads or anything. That's just crazy. So, well, everybody put up decorative art poles. Good comment there, Kevin. So, but anyway, what you got there, Scott? Let me make sure I get that one up. There are a lot of bricks that you'll see in the streets under the mud. And in fact, one of the historians, yes, I talked to a historian. I still play my old game a little bit pretty well. One of the historians I talked to confirmed or said that there were always bricks under these roads. And in fact, they had to clean off Court Avenue in Des Moines. And I'm going to get a picture of that when I head down there, and I'll send that all to you. That confirms that there were bricks under this mud. So that's a very good question. Yeah, you need to have a Home Depot wherever you have it. So, but anyway, all right. Well, since that's the last of the photos, just a couple announcements here to close things out. I'm going to have to cut question and answer short here pretty soon because, believe it or not, I'm having a late dinner with one of these archivists who's going to provide me some more information. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but in any event, what I'm looking at doing is starting another channel that's just going to focus on film reviews and kind of an off-topic aspect, similar to how John Levi has his channel set up where he has his off-topic. So I'll make sure that's linked up. That'll probably be starting up here in the next couple weeks. So all the film reviews will go there, and then that way there's not confusion in terms of the theme with the channel. But I really appreciate all the support. I'm going to get on the ground here and look to share these photos with y'all. For members, I'm going to have this packaged for you, and you are going to have access to the original information. So that'll go out over the member stream. And, you're more than welcome to become a member, but no pressure. If you just want to join us here, everybody's welcome at all times. So, but I always appreciate your comments. And if you have any final questions or concerns, you got about 2 minutes. So sorry for the tight timeline. It's just one of those nights, and I wanted to make sure I got the live stream done. So does anybody have any pressing questions? Well, Andy, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you all had a good time, and I hope you enjoyed the live stream. It's on my list, Polly. It's on my list. I was supposed to be in Philadelphia right now, and suddenly I got myself buried in Iowa, so I'm not sure what to tell you about that. But Oh, no, I'm having a good old time. Don't worry, I don't burn myself out. So, well, thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. All right. Well, time is running short on me, so I hope you all enjoyed the live stream. As always, if you have questions, let me know in the comments in the live stream or hit me up on Reddit. And by tomorrow, I'll have the pictures posted and look for some more great videos coming out this week. And I should look to start sharing in the videos some of the stuff that I am filming. So, going to get a lot of live footage. All right. We're going to close it out. I hope everybody has a great night. Enjoy your weekend or wherever you are in the land. As always, ask questions, explore yourself, and you'll restore the world. Thank you for joining me.